Hey, this is Mike from Junkie on Crafts and Builds, and I'm happy to say I have Wave 1 of the Harvinger Studios Savage Crucible line complete, including the newest release, which is the Shadow Slate Lumerian. And that's what we're going to go through now here on Junkie on Crafts and Builds. So as I said, this is the complete wave as of now, and it's really cool. This is a combination of stuff I got from the Kickstarter and leading up to my purchases yesterday at the Maryland Toy Expo in Timonium, Maryland, which was the first time that the Savage Crucible team made the Shadow Slate Lumerian available. So we're going to kind of go backwards with this line. We already did look at the Imperial Century when I received my Kickstarter, but now we're going to go and look at the newest version first, which is the Shadow Slate Lumerian. I decided it's going to be easier to describe both Lumerian slates at the same time, so I have them both here in front of you so we can look at the comparisons at the same time. So as you can see, both boxes have this really wonderful open window display showing the figure and the accessories that come with it. We of course have the different names for each one, and they are number 8 and number 9. The only difference we see here is this image has like a purple tinge or purple highlights to it. Really awesome, really makes it stand out to go along with the name of the Shadow Slate. On the back, we have the identical phrase from the Savage Crucible team. Again, the only difference is from this side with a lighter purple, we have a darkish blue purple across that image there. Again, really nicely done. It's subtle, yet really distinctive. And of course, Savage Crucible on the side there with the same image, same type of design. Now that we looked at the boxes, let's open them up and get these slates out. Of course, with each box with Savage Crucible, we get this nice cellophane foil bag. Inside contains a trading card. Let's see which ones we have. So out of the packages, these are the 2 cards that came with my slates. And I'm really excited because this is a foiled card. I never got one of these in the other boxes so far. But this is really cool. Again, this is the Crested Savage. And it has a lot of stats that you can use for a D&D game if you want to. So that's really cool. And this one here is the Croaking Hybrid. So again, this is the alternate head that comes for Como of the Isles. Again, beautiful artwork by the Savage Crucible team. I know there's 15 cards that are in this this wave so far, but yeah, really cool. I love these. It's been awesome looking at people online on the Savage Crucible Facebook group going through and trade cards amongst themselves. In fact, I traded a card with Nikki Nicole Customs. I wanted a Como card, and I got that from her, and I gave her some of my Venom Blades. Thank you very much, Nikki, for the trade, and these are really awesome. So here we have both slates out of the packaging, and these are just really cool figures. I mean, Savage Crucible, the team has knocked out of the park in regards to detail and sculpting, and what we have here, aptly called the slate, are figures that are relatively inexpensive. They're made for customizers to paint and create all sorts of variations of these creatures. So the original slate was part of the Kickstarter, and it was really inexpensive in regards to, I think it was like $15 a figure. I'm still kicking myself because I didn't put one down in my Kickstarter backing. I went with the Savage instead. But this slate quickly sold out within the collecting community when the Kickstarter releases came out in pre-orders. This is really, really hard to get. In fact, like most e-retailers like Big Bad Toy Store have this already sold out. But it's really cool that he has like this darkish green-gray skin. And this is all molded plastic. But just the detail on it, the way the sculpt is so intricate. When the light bounces off of it, it definitely shimmers and highlights all this beautiful sculpt work. But the real cool part about this story is that because this slate was sold out so quickly and everyone was really, really looking for it, and because of its popularity, the Savage Crucible team really didn't have enough in stock to satisfy the customer's needs. So instead of reissuing the slate which is something Rob doesn't really like to do in regards to just reissuing a figure as it is. He wanted to create a variation of it that was different because it also helps the new customers get in on the line without having to pay aftermarket prices or overinflated prices, but it also still gives the existing backers and those that had the figures, a chance to get something different other than buying more of the same thing. So that's where this variation called the Shadow Slate came into play. And this guy is absolutely awesome. The same sculpt that's across all the figures in this Lumerian wave, but he is in a more darker plum color. I think that's how Nikki Nicole described the plastic. So what's different between this one and this one? Let's go ahead and talk about that. So the original Slate has this more straight iguana styled face sculpt. The body itself isn't painted. The only deco you're going to see is here on the eyes, which are these really cool orangish yellow. And then inside the mouth, which both have articulated mouths. And you can see that this guy has this really nice deep red inner mouth and white teeth all across here. Looks really good. We got this loincloth here. It's like a dull purple soft plastic. Has ports for accessories to be plugged into on the side and in the back. So the Shadow Slate, as you can see, has a different style head, kind of more like a snake. And his eyes are a red and a yellow deco. But what is the coolest part about this is the inside of his mouth. As you can see here, is like this really shiny, shimmering purple, pink. Just looks really cool. And the way the wash and the iridescence on the inside of the mouth, it definitely looks like it's simulates like a wet texture inside the mouth. You can see here the teeth aren't painted inside this one, but just the detail on the face and inside here, just really, really cool. So physically, that's the two main differences between these figures. Accessory-wise, both figures come with two sets of hands. The default hands that we see on them here from the box. The other set of hands are these open claw type hands. The other difference in accessories come with the weapons that each Slate has. For the original Slate, we have this kind of gold, darkish gold bone weapon, similar to what we saw with the Lumerian Savage. But for the Shadow Slate, he comes with a pair of curved swords molded in this silver plastic, and they are awesome. These are similar to the ones that I saw with my copy of the Imperial Sentry, and they are just really cool. And it's nice that we get a pair of blades for this one, as again, it changes things up from what we received with the original Slate. So with Articulation, if you haven't held any of these Savage Crucible figures, the high point is the amount of articulation points on each figure is just awesome, because you can put these guys in so many different poses. And we'll start off here at the top with the head. Now the head itself is on a ball peg. You get a little bit of motion and stuff. Could it have been on a ball hinge? Possibly, in regards to just the amount of range that you could get compared to the double ball, to this single peg going into the head. With that, you can look up that far. You can look down that far. And you can get some Lumerian sass. Moving on, arms. You can get the shoulders up past 90 degrees. We're on a soft ratchet going around. We have bicep rotation in regards to that this bicep is like a floating piece, so you can actually move that around separately from the rest of the arm. We do have double jointed elbows neatly hidden by this piece here. You can only get slightly above 90 degrees. We get an elbow swivel here. We do get a forearm swivel as well, because this is another floating piece that can be swapped out. And again, wrists. We have vertical hinges here on the gripping hands, and they can also rotate around. The high point for these figures are the butterfly joints, which are really nicely engineered in the fact that they can sweep forward, and they're hidden by this extra piece here. So you can get a really nice range. So if you had a double-bladed weapon, your Slate can easily grip it in both hands and have it in front of the body. And you can even go further if you want to by pressing in and hyperextending the butterfly joint out here. You see that it has this little nub that keeps it in place normally. But with that, you can also bring the arms even further across the body. We're on a double ball peg up here between the abdomen and upper torso, and then a single ball peg from the waist up into the abdomen area. And what that gives you is a huge range of motion. You know, you can bend forward that far. You can bend back super far before you start breaking the sculpt. But yeah, that right there gives you so many options. You can have a really substantial tilt. You can get a lot of range without breaking the sculpt as it is. But if you wanted to, you can always cheat it. We also have a swivel here. He has this loincloth type of piece wrapping around his waist, and it is a floating piece of softer plastic. We have an accessory port here and in the back, and moving down into the lower torso, we have ball joints at the hips. I can get you out that far. They're not drop downs. We have that, like I said, we can go out with the hips, the wrappings here, just by pushing it up. You can get your legs up that far. Back, not so much because of the sculpt. You have thigh swivel, as well as at the swivel point here at the hip, like the elbows. We have double jointed ratcheted knees. That can get you back that far, which is pretty substantial, I think. Some criticism that we've received with this first wave is because of how this has been engineered. Some people, look at the knee itself and say it's elongated. That could be subjective. I don't mind it at all. We have a calf rotation here. Again, this is a little tight, so always heat it up. And if you're not familiar, like these calf pieces here are swappable. Then we go down to the feet. The other widespread QC challenge that the team has faced is the ankles. In this first wave is that the joint here that allows the ankle to go down and up is really, it needs a little more tolerance. It makes it hard to stand your figures up, especially with these elongated feet and the toe hinge. This is a little tighter, but still it's something to be concerned with when you're posing and trying to get your figure to stand. So with the Shadow Slate, the Savage Crucible team went back to the manufacturer and said, hey, we need to make this joint tighter. And it is tighter on this figure. It still has a little bit of twitch, but I know this is not the final solution. It looks like the Savage Crucible team is going back and possibly replacing everyone's ankle and feet with a different solution that they're working on. Like I said, we have a rotation here at the ankle. And like I said, you can go up and down, and we have this toe hinge that can go up 90 degrees or down. The final piece of articulation is the Slate's tail. Now this is all one piece, not like the Imperial Sentry or some of the other characters in the line that have some segments and joints built into the tail. This is just one piece, but it does have a pivot here to go up and down. And at the connection point, you can rotate it left or right. There is that piece of articulation. For comparisons, I have my Slates next to a G.I. Joe Classified Series figure and an Action Force Republic Guard Army Builder. The Slates measure just shy of 7 inches. So you can see that they definitely fit into your 1/12 scale military action figure line. As we continue our comparisons, we have a McFarlane Toys Ghost of Krypton Brainiac drone and a Mythic Legions Zendi from the Poxus wave. And again, you can see that these Slates can fit into a variety of action figure lines here, whether you want to do a little bit of a sci-fi adventure or a Dungeons and Dragons fantasy line. These Lumerians can go just about anywhere. And for our final comparison, I never really had the chance to pull this guy out, and I figured this is a perfect time to do so. But we have our Lumerian Slates next to the Axie Toys King Carnivius, or Carnivius King. Doesn't matter what his name is, he's a big ass dinosaur dressed like a barbarian, and this guy, it towers over these Slates. But he could definitely fit in as a leader or a warlord for the Lumerians. This is just really cool, and again, it's a highlight for the collector that we have this variety available to us to make our collections really just come alive. Final impressions of the Savage Crucible, Lemurian Wave, Slate and Shadow Slate. I really, really love this line. QC, to be completely honest, I'm aware of. They're not supposed to be perfect. They're never going to be perfect toys. But the cool part is Rob and the Savage Crucible team are open to feedback. They're listening to what the customers are saying, what we're finding out, and they're adjusting things for the subsequent waves. I am positive when Wave 2 comes out, we're not going to have the same challenges we have right now with weak ankles. And I applaud the Savage Crucible team for their efforts to try to correct this issue with the Wave and those of us that have purchased these awesome toys. That being said, the name Slate is so appropriate because you have so many options with these figures. And that includes doing nothing but put them on your shelf or play with them, because even with the minimal amount of paint, that really makes these figures stand out on a shelf. The bare bones accessories are primed and ready to go for customizers. Articulation, again, above par. There are 2 weapons packs or gear packs available now in Wave 1. Even if you haven't bought any of these figures yet, you will have an opportunity, because at the time of this video, 9th of June, Savage Crucible is going to have their in-stock sale for Wave 1 on the 14th of June, 2024. They're not going to give a time. They want to kind of test the website. This is going to be the cheapest time that you can actually get the Shadow Slate for $19. In addition to getting this Shadow Slate during the in-stock sale for $19, which is a limit of 5 per household, that's 5 of these base figures for $19. MyActionFigureCustoms.com, or MAFC, are going to have factory produced parts that are going to be color matched to the Shadow Slate, also available on the 14th. So I think it's pretty obvious that I really enjoyed this line and enjoy these figures, especially for the value that you get. Please, if you are interested at all in this line, check out the in-stock sale on the 14th. Check out the Savage Crucible socials on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. On SavageCrucible.com, check out the special gear pack that's going to be color matched to the Shade Slate on Savage Crucible or MAFC.com. And finally, if you're able to go to any of the conventions that the Savage Crucible team is going to be at, you can find their schedule on SavageCrucible.com. So that's everything I have about these guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like and a comment down below. I love to interact with everyone. Give me your thoughts on these figures. Have you thought about Savage Crucible at all? Do you have them? Do you like what you see? Have you customized anything? And if so, send me a picture of that on my Instagram account or check me out on Facebook. I love talking to you guys. It makes this fun because it's me collecting, talking to fellow collectors, and that is how we keep this community positive, moving, and we can make a difference in what we want, because we are the consumers, and there are companies out there like Savage Crucible that are eager to hear back from us and know what we think so they can improve their lines for us. I love it if you guys would be a member of the JCB team. But until then, check out my next video. It's going to be here, and I really appreciate it. So until next time, guys, later.